Hey everyone, in today's video, we're answering the question, can stay-at-home parents get Social Security benefits? Well, the short answer is yes, but there are three possible scenarios and they all have slightly different variations in the rules and the amount you can collect. But by the end of this video, you'll understand what benefits a stay-at-home mom or dad is eligible for. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I'm Devin Carroll, and on this channel, I break down Social Security and make it easy to understand. If you want to understand how this program will impact you and your retirement, will you consider subscribing and then be sure to click that notifications bell so you won't miss anything we publish. And also, hey, stay tuned to the end of this video, and I'm going to tell you where to get your free copy of the blueprint version of my book. This is Social Security Basics. This is what I used as the structure of it. So stay tuned and I'll tell you where the link is in just a moment. Today's video comes from a question that my wife asked me. She said, Devin, do stay-at-home parents get Social Security benefits? Now this was during a time where she had taken off from being a nurse to stay at home with one or maybe two of our three kids. I can't remember what it was at the moment. She thought she knew the answer, but after a conversation with friends, she was a little bit confused on this. But here's how I explained it to her in one sentence. Social Security benefits are paid to eligible spouses and children if the working spouse becomes disabled, dies, or retired. Now, that probably won't be the last time I get that question. According to the Pew Research Center, there are a lot of stay-at-home parents. In fact, 18% of all parents don't work. And when you dive into those numbers, you see that 27% of mothers don't work and 7% of all fathers don't work. And an interesting side note to the fathers, since 1989, the number of stay-at-home dads has nearly doubled. So if you're one of the million of stay-at-home parents, here's a quick breakdown of the benefits available to you. As long as you meet the eligibility criteria, you could become eligible for a benefit if your working spouse becomes disabled, dies, or retires. Now, I want to break those down individually and then take a look at some of the factors that could reduce or eliminate your eligibility for benefits. So let's start first with if your spouse becomes disabled. So if your working spouse becomes disabled, they'll be eligible for disability benefits if they have sufficient work history. Now, generally, the disability requirements are 10 years of recent work history, but since disabilities can happen to younger workers, there are some exceptions to that 10-year rule. I don't want to use this video to dive into that. Just know, if your spouse becomes eligible for disability benefits, there are also benefits available to you as well. The first benefit is a retirement benefit. Even though your spouse is disabled, you'll still be eligible for a retirement benefit at age 62. So how much would this be? Well, the retirement benefit would be the greater of your own Social Security benefit or a percentage of your spouse's benefit. If you wait until your full retirement age, you'd get about 50% of your spouse's full retirement age benefit. However, you could get a reduced benefit as early as 62. Now, it would be reduced, and as a rough calculation, it'd be around 35% if you filed at 62 instead of the 50%. Now, those ages are not an issue if you have a child at home who is under the age of 16 or disabled before the age of 22. In that case, you could qualify for what they call a child in care benefit. This benefit is generally 50% of the disabled worker's benefit amount. If you have multiple children, the benefit is payable for one child only, so know that. And it will terminate when the last child turns 16. Now, if your spouse retires, the benefits to you are substantially the same as if he or she becomes disabled. Now, where things get a little different is if your spouse dies. Now, I have an entire video devoted to Social Security survivor benefits, so please check that out for more detailed information. But here's the short and sweet version. If your spouse dies, you are eligible for a higher benefit than you would be under the last two scenarios, and you can file for this survivor benefit at an earlier age. So if we use some approximate rough numbers here, you could expect to receive 100% of your deceased spouse's full retirement age benefit at your full retirement age. However, you can file as early as 60, and that's 50 if you're disabled, and receive 72.5% of your spouse's full retirement age benefit. Now, if you're caring for a deceased spouse child, there is no minimum age to file for benefits. The child and care benefit is set at a flat rate of 75% of your deceased spouse's full retirement age benefit. So then this brings up the big question. How would a divorce impact all of this? Now, you could still be eligible for a benefit from your ex-spouse if they became disabled, died, or retired, as long as you were married to your ex-spouse for at least 10 years and currently unmarried. Insert caveat there. We'll come back to that. However, there are two notable exceptions for divorce cases. The first is the child and care benefit. There is simply no provision to pay a child and care benefit to a divorced spouse. The earliest age of eligibility is 62 for retirement or disability, or 60 for a survivor benefit. The other exception is remarriage. In most cases, remarriage will eliminate your eligibility from a former spouse. But if you remarry after age 60 and your former spouse dies, you can still be eligible for a survivor benefit from that former spouse. Just remember, though, that remarriage has to occur after the age of 60. So that covers the benefits available to the spouse of a worker, but there's also available benefits to children of workers. Now, I don't want to spend too much time here, but here's a quick summary of how that works. If the working parent is disabled or retires, an eligible child could receive up to 50% of the full retirement age benefit. If the working parent dies, an eligible child could receive up to 75% of the deceased parent's full retirement age benefit. Now, there's a few criteria for eligibility, though. One, the child must be unmarried, be under 18 or 19 and still in high school, or 18 and older and disabled from a disability that started before age 22. So that's the quick and dirty rules for children. That really needs its very own video because especially when you get into the disabled child, there's some pretty specialized rules that come in there that really need fleshing out and talking about. All right, so then hanging over all of this are two big rules that will affect your benefit payments in any of these scenarios that we've talked about thus far. The first is the earnings limitation. If you are below your full retirement age, there is a limit on the amount of earnings you can receive while collecting Social Security. This means that if you begin collecting a survivor benefit and then return to work, there would be a limit to the amount you could earn before your Social Security benefit would begin to be withheld. Now, I have an entire video that covers the Social Security earnings limit, and I would encourage you to watch that to get a deeper understanding of how that works. Now, it's important to note that the earnings limit is measured on an individual basis. So, for example, assume that you have two children at home who are 14 and 17. And after beginning to receive a benefit, you decide to return to work. If your earnings get high enough, all benefits payable to you would cease. But the benefits payable to your children would continue. However, if they begin working, they'll be subject to the same earnings limit. So just remember, it's on an individualized basis. And then exception number 2, and that's the family benefit maximum. Now, this family maximum benefit is the maximum monthly amount that can be paid on a worker's benefit. So, for example, if your spouse dies and you have 3 children under the age of 18, they can't all receive 75% of your deceased spouse's full retirement age benefit. Now, although that maximum amount varies some, the monthly benefit from a worker's record is capped in between a range of 150 to 180% of the worker's full retirement age benefit. I'm going to put a link in the description below that has a calculator where you can figure out what the cap is in your own situation. Okay, so the blueprint version of my book, that's this right here. It can be downloaded for free by looking in the description of this video for the word blueprint. and that's going to be followed by a link. If you'll just click that link, you'll be seconds away from getting your very own download to this. And you may want to move on from that point to purchasing the book. Now, this was kind of, if you think about this as the blueprint, right? This is the rough structure. This has all the basic elements of the book. And then we wrote the book and put it on Amazon. That's the wrong way. It should be this way. There we go. Social Security Basics. And we put this on Amazon, and it's consistently ranked in the top 5 of all Social Security books, and quite often is ranked number 1. So it's a very easy read. It's 100 and something pages. It's not going to take you more than a day or two to read this, but I would encourage you to go back, read it again, read it again, read it as many times as you need to so you can get this stuff down deep in your head. You know, in all the time I've been talking about Social Security to individuals, I have found that most questions that I get asked can be answered with a very simple understanding of the basics. And so that's what this book was set out to do, is just answer the basics. Very good. Well, listen, remember, please, this is your retirement. Please continue to learn and stay informed. You can further your learning by watching the video that you see on the right-hand side of the screen. I picked this video out as a complement to the video that you just watched, so it should be able to increase and expound on the learning that you've picked up here today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.